My name is Giovanni Giorgio, but everybody calls me Giorgio.
Hello everyone, welcome to Dating and Development. If you know who I am, blessings and greetings to you all. I hope we're all keeping well. Before I get started, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who is tuned into these videos, which have been uploaded to any well-known podcast or audio streaming service. Check the analytics today for on Anchor, should I say, and we've hit over 1,000 listens, so that's absolutely amazing. Didn't think we'd make it this far, didn't think that many people would be tuning in, but look, it means a whole heap to me. I never take this for granted, so thank you very much. And if you listen to this on Spotify or whatever the case may be, hit the subscribe button as well on YouTube. Would really help a lot, honestly it would. Now, Irish people and dating, they're hopeless. Well, as according to this article found on meanwhileinIreland.com. I'm waiting for the, there we go, lovely. So 8 reasons why Irish people are hopeless at dating. Now, we've got to remember that people don't know how to interact with people these days. What do I mean by that? What I'm getting at is that with the advent of social media and that, everyone is glued to their smartphones now. I can't preach to choir there that I'm never on my smartphone, because I am mainly on YouTube and that, but we're glued to our smartphones that it's hard for us to actually interact properly with each other. We find it much more easier to talk to other people via text messages or WhatsApp, voice messages, or OnlyFans. Anyways, carrying on from that, and we've lost that social skill of actually talking to people face to face. And while we can text people normally over phones and that, because we don't actually have to look at them, when it comes to the real life interaction, we're kind of lost though, and that's a bit of a bad thing. And that kind of lends itself as to why people can be bad at dating, because they don't know how to communicate, but do not know how to communicate their needs and wants. And as I discussed in a previous video the other day, is that we kind of tend to beat around the bush on what we really want. And if we're more direct and in our terms of communication and show, very strong behavior, being very assertive with what we want, we can have success. However, that success won't be taken for granted, because there will be some girls who will take offense to how assertive and direct you are. But as said, if they take offense and don't walk away from you while talking to them, what does that kind of show? What she says is not what she really wants. Anyways, enough of a prologue, let's get into it. In this feature article, journalist Jerledden, himself not totally opposed to the odd date every now and then, to investigate and report and perhaps suggest how he could do dating a bit more professionally. Well, I'm going to chime in with my 2 cents every so often as well, as I usually do. Let's face it, the Irish people are good at many things, but dating is not one of them. But you can say a lot of people aren't dating in different cultures, aren't good at dating in different cultures, should I say. Like, you could have people in the US who are not very good at dating. You can say US people as a whole aren't very good at dating. But the thing is that dating is seen differently in different cultures. Like, dating someone in Ireland is totally different to dating someone in the US. Like, in Ireland you might meet up, shift, have a shag, whatever the case may be. In the US it's more of a gradual process. I don't know the exact intricacies, but I do know it is different. And that's just culture. That is just culture. But monogamy in Ireland is far more preached than it is in the US, while even though Ireland is becoming a lot more westernized with its viewpoints on the womanist movement and everything else, we are becoming a lot more promiscuous. Is that a bad thing? Yes and no. But it's not the topic of discussion for this video. Perhaps it is our history of matchmaking that hinders us. For years we depended on 2 ways to find a partner: the local matchmaker and laterally the local ballroom of romance, aka the disco dance floor, aka coppers, where bad decisions are made but dreams can also come true. Yeah, matchmaking was a massive thing in the past in Ireland, still goes on. There's a matchmaking convention in Lisdoonarva. How far is it away? I think it's in Leitrim or County Clare, one of the counties in Ireland. But yeah, there's still matchmaking festivals going on, even not so long ago. I say a few years ago, my mother was even approached by a matchmaker for a guy. Bit of a weird scenario, but I've known people who've gone to these matchmaking festivals, and they're usually fully attended by old men or men with no social skills whatsoever when it comes to interacting with the ladies. Oh Jesus, there goes the bottle. Apologies for that noise. When I was in my dating prime, the most common first question you asked a prospective partner was, do you have much road frontage? Meaning, do you have plenty of land? Meaning, of course, did your prospective prey have a bit of land which could be sold off as sites? Now, looking at it in a more of a deeper term, yeah, your prospective date, but that's kind of like, do you have wealth? And that's kind of promoting that sense of open hypergamy, should I say, because that's a typical thing you see in Ireland, is that when you meet a girl for the first time, or a girl talks to her parents about you, the mother would generally ask, is he tall, dark and handsome, and what does he work as? And that's kind of promoting the open hypergamy, like, is he good enough for you, is he tall enough, does he drive, does he have wealth, does he have security? And even so, to say, like, I've mentioned this story once or twice before, where a friend of mine was telling me that his sisters were getting married, and the sister's fiance had a massive house and a load of land, and the mother said, marry him, he has a lot of wealth. So that kind of shows that look out for your own security, but love doesn't really matter, because we all know love can be opportunistic when it comes to ladies. Now, not to say that they can't love, women can love perfectly fine, but men and women have different ideologies of love, or how they portray their love. Moving on. That was an essential question in Ireland of the 60s and 70s. And if you're going to bring home some girl to meet the mammy, well, at least they'd be impressed if the lady or her father had a few acres to play around with. Yeah, money, moolah, security. Thankfully, we have progressed from those distant but simple days. Yeah, it's progressed, but it's still the same. What job does he have? Does he make a lot of income? Tall, dark and handsome? Does he drive? Does he live at home with his parents? Like, still the same kind of concept, but the way it's expressed has changed. But we still have a long way to go before we can hope to match our European neighbours, especially the French, who have turned dating and romance into an art form and make us look like imbeciles when it comes to romance. I don't think so. French are always pretty open, putting each other's baguettes inside their croissant. Anyway, let's have a look at where we go wrong in trying to improve our dating skills. Number 1, we never arrive on time. Should I say, women rarely arrive on time. On my dates, I have arrived on time, but I've always checked the woman. Something very important, men. If she arrives late for a date, check her. What does this mean? That if you already got yourself a drink, tell her the next drink's on her because you've been waiting for her. You have to establish your boundaries straight off, because if she keeps pushing those boundaries and you don't do anything, she's going to walk all over you. And she might go, just play it off. Oh, I got this round, give me the next round. You're late. But don't bring it up like, oh, you're late, like you're butter. Just say, oh, looks like I'm the one on time. Oh, well, or whatever. I know, but just don't be passive aggressive about it. For God's sake, arrive on time. Seriously, this applies to both ladies and the lads. It's nice to look cool and arrive late. You might think you're playing that little bit hard to get, but you're not. But you see, if I'm going to be waiting for a date, right, unless I'm waiting for more than 15 minutes, I don't want to go. I have other things to do at my time, because if she's going to be late by about 20 minutes, half an hour, what is she saying to you? What's that subconsciously communicating? What it's telling you is that, okay, great, me as a lady, I value myself and my time more than yours. I'm going to be late. And you don't want to kind of have that look of value in a relationship where she sees herself higher than you. If she's going to be acting like that, that's a red flag. I wouldn't be going near that, to be honest. In fairness, some women hate walking into a bar or a restaurant alone, and it's nice if the guy is there before them. Now, women are just generally bad timekeepers. They can be, a lot of them, but not all of them. Please do not direct hate at me. I love you all equally. This is a society after all. And ladies, remember, Irishmen have very low self-esteem. If you're any more than 5 minutes late, they think you stood them up. No, check me out. Not all Irishmen have low self-esteem. I'm quite confident myself and I'm Irish. You know, I've got a good muscular body. You know, I'm handsome enough, you know, easy enough on the eye, I like to believe. But all Irishmen have low self-esteem. If they think you stood them up for 5 minutes, just have better timekeeping skills. Easy as. If I'm going to be waiting there by myself for 20 minutes, I'm going to go. I don't care if you're putting on your makeup or you're creating the feckin' Michelangelo's Pieta out of your pubic hair. Do I care? No, you're still late. The medium is the message. If you're late, you're late. It is what it is. Just get better timekeeping skills. There's a chance that Irishmen will lie from a day straight from GA training. Never seen this happen, but men, hygiene's extremely important when it comes to dates. Like, make sure you're well groomed, your clothes fit nice. You have a really old video on my channel, probably from March or April of this year, about how to dress appropriately for dates and how to dress appropriately for yourself, what kind of clothes to wear. Check that video out. We all know that many GA or soccer pitches are just old, wet and boggy fields, and the nearest changing room or showers are normally in the next parish, and so you might not be inclined to bother. You should be inclined to bother to clean yourself up. Seriously lads, either give the training a miss for one night or allow plenty of time to go home and shower. Of course, you could also think about taking up rugby, a far classier sport for gentlemen, and all their training facilities have changing rooms complete with showers. Whoa. I have nothing much to say on that. We talk too much. Yeah, this is a big thing, men. When it comes to dates, let the woman do most of the talking, especially in the early stages, mind you. When she does most of the talking, well, obviously it's like an 80-20 rule, that you're creating that sense of mystery when you talk less, and that she's going to be wondering about you today. I don't know much about him, blah blah blah. She'll be thinking about you, but you have to have that air of mystery, and it's not just in the beginning stages of the relationship. It also has to, I won't say fornicate. It also has to permeate into your relationship as well with her if things were to progress to that more serious stage. Once you become predictable, once you know what she knows, what you're going to do, what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and what time you're going to say it at, it becomes boring, and she's obviously going to stir up a bit of a storm, just to see how you react, or just to change up the pace of things. And what do I always say when it comes to her testing you, when it comes to creating a storm, when she creates one for you? Don't get reactive, become proactive. It's like a fisherman in a boat. You know, he's fishing along, but if a storm comes, smacks him right in the vagina, and he falls overboard, and there's waves coming in wetter than a porn star's vagine. Oh crap, they're going to demonetize this video now. More than a mattress actress's vagine. That's going to be harder for him to get back into the boat. And with that analogy going on, she is a storm. If you become reactive and fall out the boat and off of your center, it's going to be 10 times as hard, no pun intended, to actually get back into the boat, to get back to your center, because she's going to feed off that. The emotion feeds emotion. You need to be grounded. You need to be her mountain. What I hear you say, surely there's nothing wrong with talking on a date. There isn't nothing wrong, but she should do most of the talking, and your conversation topics should be positive also, because if you get her to elicit positive emotional responses with questions you ask, or make her laugh in that, she's going to associate those good emotions with you. It's how it goes. One feeds into the other. This is going to be a long enough video, mind you. Well, you're right there, but there isn't. But for the love of God, give the other person a chance to get a word in every now and then. Yeah, don't talk too much. Give too much away. You play all your cards too easily. Honestly, can't count the number of times I have been out having a quiet pint, minding my own business, and doing a bit of people watching while pretending to read my newspaper. It's a journalist thing. We're all nosy boopy doopies. And seen a couple on the first date. Inevitably, one of the two will be doing all the talking and not giving the other a chance. Seriously, leave the bloody soliloquies to Hamlet. Yeah, don't talk too much in a date. The woman should be doing the majority of the talking. And then I might get women saying about this channel, oh, no, that's not fair, remember the equality, woman is moving, you go girl. Nah, like look, women respond to different things, but if you understand what women are like and how their minds go, you can set your watch as to what's going to happen. Because if the behavior becomes that predictable, and then you have, but I'm not predictable, but I'm not like other women. Women don't want to be generalized. It's just how it goes. They don't want to be seen as other women. But when you date enough women, you'll see the patterns emerge. And that's what happens. Moving on. When we do talk, we say the wrong thing. Yeah, but that kind of, like, why are you just mentioning the same point twice? Okay. For God's sake, don't mention the ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. Right, if girls keep mentioning their ex-boyfriend on dates while you're on a date with her, it means she's not over her ex. Cut your losses. Down through my career as a semi-professional dater, I've gained so much knowledge about ex-husbands and former boyfriends and their long list of faults I could write a trilogy of books on the subject, and that's not even including that something at work. That female dog at work. Seriously, ladies, we don't really care, but in defense of the ladies, I think the men are probably just as bad with their half-hour discourse on the mammy's cooking or the cost analysis and detailed description of the recently purchased new set of tires. Okay, this guy has seriously heard some pretty funky dating topics being discussed, but with that being said, just don't talk about your ex in a date. And men, if a woman asks you, well, what was your ex-girlfriend like, don't start bad mouthing her, because this is a test in itself, and what she's trying to see is that if you go into a relationship with her, right, and things go south and she doesn't go south on you and that causes you a lot of hassle, is that she's wanting to see how you will talk about her if things were to break up between you two, or if things were to go south between the two of you. So if you get asked, oh, what was your last relationship like? Oh, she was this, that and the other, and she banged Julio Gonzalez down the street, and oh, he put a paella inside her vagina and blah 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 blah, and oh, I didn't like her, she never put out, and oh, she was always so mean, she talked bad and I just hated her guts. That's not going to vibe well. That's not going to vibe well. What you really should be saying is, oh, blah blah blah, things didn't really work out, which is unfortunate. I couldn't give her what she wanted. She deserves so much more, and I wasn't able to provide that for her. And if she finds a man now, like, all the more power to her. I'll be delighted for her. She deserves it, or whatever. Women fall in love with your words. But, like, you got to be honest about it as well. So, like, don't go bad mouthing her and start being bitter about it. Just say, yeah, things just didn't work out and it was a shame. But yeah, you know what I'm kind of getting at there. Probably bad enough in that explanation, but look, it is what it is. Seriously, oh yeah, read that already. I suppose to summarize this whole talking thingy, if you have to talk, and let's face it, it is expected that you make some sort of effort on a date. Keep the subject matter short, sweet and simple. And don't forget to ask the occasional question of your companion. Men ask the majority of the questions and then talk for a bit and then carry on like that. Now, if you find something that you can't talk about, or, things are quiet, the silence isn't always that bad. But refer back to something that she mentioned earlier on during the date. That's active listening. Women seem to like short and simple questions that kind of doesn't go over the task. They're going to overtask their pretty little heads. Oh, that didn't make sense. It does make sense, but it's just phrased badly. Carrying on. Irish men can't give a compliment to save their lives. We can. It's just how you phrase it. It's true an Irish man simply cannot compliment a woman on her appearance, and that's a fact. You can. You just gotta be upfront about it. There's one time I saw a girl and I was like, that dress hugs your body nicely. I like how it looks in you, and I walked away. And later on that night, she came back over to me and started getting talking because she liked how I complimented her. You gotta be nuanced about it, but you've got to say what's on your mind. I know that's like really ballsy to do, having those steel balls to actually say what's really on your mind, and that comes with confidence and practice and talking to women again and again and again, and more importantly, treating all women the same. No need to pedestalize. Now, I'm not talking about those brave Irish men when years into a relationship can lie or bend the truth easily. Does my bum look big in this? That's a loaded question. That is a loaded question. How do I deal with that kind of question? Just say I'd rather look, I'll have a better view if those jeans are off. Have a look at that nice bum of yours or whatever, like, you know. But it's a loaded question. Say, oh, you don't look big in that bum. She's like, oh, he's just lying to me, or you do, and she gets angry. It's a loaded question. You kind of have to maneuver around it with smoothness. This is more directed at those out on a first or second date. The odd compliment here and there will be appreciated, but be careful. I was like, if I'm in during the date, I might say to her, like, look, you're absolutely intoxicating to look at. You look phenomenal. The way you're dressed, you know, the way that dress hugs your body is just wow. I really like it. I like what I see. Impressive. But I won't be an absolute simp about it either. Stay away from contentious issues like hairstyle and makeup. Women can get a bit touchy about those and are rarely happy with the results even after spending a fortnight in a beauty parlour. Personally, I have found that a simple compliment on her choice of shoes is a safe bet. For some reason, they seem to like that. I was like, oh, great design with your hair. The curls really add to your facial features. It was a poor compliment. Everyone in Ireland knows your business, and they can, because Ireland is quite a small country with a population of 4.5 million. Yes, this is another reason why Irish people are fairly useless on dates, especially in the early stages of a relationship. Ireland is too bloody small, and we all know one another. Not in Dublin. Now with a population of about 1.1 million, in Dublin 1.4 million. I don't know many people up here, and that's what makes it so good, because I come from a town of 7,500 people where everyone seems to know one another or know of someone. And being in Dublin is such a breath of fresh air, because I know no one. I don't really know many people. I have my friends and that up here, don't get me wrong, but in the grand scheme of things, you can get away with a lot in Dublin. When it comes to, like, you know, not coming across people you know and that. I'm not saying anything else, mind you. Don't twist my words. This makes it difficult to put in practice our alter ego. You shouldn't be having an alter ego in the first place. You should be authentic and honest with your intentions. You know what I mean? Our Walter Mitty stories of how we could captain the parish team to victory in the semi-finals and just narrowly missed out on playing for the county on account of an ankle injury. No, just be honest with what you're going to say. The chances are that in Ireland he or she will have a brother that went to school with you and knows you couldn't kick a ball in your life. Dependent on it. Ooh, sugar. A cousin who works with you, and an aunt that used to babysit you. You see, when involved in dating in Ireland, you really can't really make things up, and that way it takes half of the fun out of it. You shouldn't be making things up, because you're using manipulation to manipulate someone, and then they're going to manipulate you because you're manipulating them, and then turns into a big case of head games. And that's what the case should be. We get drunk far too easily. That guy kind of looks like Alex Jones. Believe it or not, there's a rumour that Irish people get tattooed drunk on the date. They can. We should see nights out in Dublin where the chicks are on the street crying. Oh Jesus, it is an absolute mare to look at. Come on, we've all done it, especially when faced with the awkward social situations. Depends on your level of confidence in that, I guess. Yes, we might be an expert at chatting up a member of the opposite gender in a bar or nightclub after a few pints, but us sitting at a restaurant table and ask us to make intelligent conversation, and we literally bottle it and turn to downing the glass of red like there's no tomorrow. Next thing you know, you've forgotten their name and probably arranged to bring them home to meet Mammy on Sunday. shouldn't be doing that straight away. Oh yeah, on a serious note, ladies, never leave a drink unattended with someone you hardly know. It's not the Irish lads will slip something into it. It's more likely they'll drink it while you're powdering your nose or whatever. That's just not common courtesy whatsoever. But that's why I kind of, you know, I'm on days I try and drink at the bar area. Just so it'd be easier to get drinks than that or anything like that. But I wouldn't overdrink. I take my time drinking on a date. We're a cheap lot. Again, I can't count the number of times I've overheard the phrase, "You don't want a starter, do you?" Yeah, we all know it is kind of expected that the man pays for the first date, but that doesn't entitle him to any God-given rights to dictate that the woman should choose the cheapest dish in the menu. It just doesn't wash with most women. Look, if I want a main course and not a starter, but if you want a starter and a main course, you pay for your starters. I'm not paying for, like, that's not equality. Like, you want equality, you pay for what you get. Just because I don't want a starter doesn't mean I'm going to pay for your starter. That's not how it rolls, and that's not how the case should be either. But on the other hand, ladies, it is a good idea to at least offer to pay for a drink or the taxi or some other small gesture. You see, that's what's wrong with the Irish. We simply don't know how to behave when it comes up to dividing up the bill. And let's face it, for a nation whose roots include a fair amount of cattle dealers and shysters, we seem to have a problem discussing money and who should pay for what on dates. Well, like, look, if I'm on a date and I'm out having drinks, I get the first round, she will get the next round, then I'll get the next round, and then she will get the next round. That's how it goes. Now, I did have a date before with a lady who wanted me to keep on buying her the drinks for the night, and I said, no, when are you going to get me my one? I said, it's your turn to get me a drink. What? I don't believe you said that to me. If my sister was here, she'd be so offended. She's a princess. I should be treated like this. And I was like, what are you talking about, you absolute donkey? And sure, like, look, I left afterwards. I was not impressed with that behavior. I sabotaged that date on purpose purely because of that. But like, look, if she makes a big hullabaloo out of paying for things like a simple drink and that, don't bother. More chances than anything else, she might be fairly materialistic or just extremely entitled, and you don't want that. You'd rather have someone you can get along easily with, as opposed to someone who you have to jump through hoops to be with. If she's opening doors, she's making it easy, lads. Remember that. Not easy to get with her, but just making things easier with her. Moving on, we're nearly done. Anyway, there you have it. 8 reasons why the Irish are bloody hopeless when it comes to dating. This guy's grammar is atrocious. If you want my advice, lads, don't bother at times. You're better off at home with the feet up and watching TV while the mammy cooks you something nice for tea. Oh, I can get behind that sometimes. Ding dong. And ladies, if you're really, really looking for romance, think about moving to France, or of course, you can always give me a buzz. Nobody is perfect. Like, you know, a nice little bit of a self appreciation there at the end. But look, article can be seen as a joke, but he does touch on a lot of points there about how Irish people are like when it comes to dating. What's the general message of this all? Improve your game. Self-improvement. Improve more and more every day. Even if it's just 0.1% or 1%, even 10%. Just keep going for more and more and building yourself up. That's how you should do it. And when it comes to building yourself up, improve yourself with your physique. She must have a nice physique. Build up your wealth. Learn to save. Educate yourself. Learn new skills. Better your wardrobe. But also learn how to talk to women. Understand their psychology. Understand what they're about. Their nature. What gets them ticking. What behaviors to do. And add that to your personality. Work on your flaws and build on your strengths, and use your strengths to work on your flaws. I know I'm a philosopher at this stage, but it's quite a long video, and that's all the time I have for today. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe and share, and as always, stay safe, take care, God bless, and look after one another. Times are tough as it is. Don't make things harder for other people. Until then, be better.